Okay, guys, we're going to be starting in just one more minute. We have here Basti from Core Dev from the team. We have also Ines, technical writer from the team, and we have as a special guest Overnice today. Guys, how are you doing? I basically gave you a quick intro to give people some context, but maybe we begin one by one. Basti, how is it going today?
Hey, thanks Richie, and thanks everyone for showing up. Yeah, I'm doing quite all right. Very excited to talk about pre-staking, seeing as the validator registration has closed. This is going to be fun.
Thanks a lot, Basti. Ines, how about you? How is your day so far?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay. All good. I'm excited for this Twitter space, X space, actually. I'm the technical writer, and we're gonna answer some questions about the pre-staking.
Yes, of course. Thanks a lot. Ines is well versed in everything about that has to do with the documentation on pre-staking and the migration in general. So thanks a lot for joining us. And Overnice, how are you doing? Who is there behind the account? Can you give us a quick intro into what Overnice does for Nimiq? Why are you guys here? And who are you?
Mr. Speaker. Hi everybody, Tamo here from Team Overnice. We generally do the UI and UX for Nimiq, and have also created the pre-staking page, the whole giveaway event basically. This is going super great. I love that we already have a billion locked, and we are carefully listening to all the feedback that's coming in. We're trying to hotfix some quirks, maybe some things are not super straightforward to understand, so we're trying to debug this as fast as we can, and yeah, looking forward to talking to you guys.
Amazing, thanks a lot. So thanks a lot everybody who joined. I see a lot of familiar faces around. Helvetia Staking, I see Thor also, Jimmy, Nimiq Hub, thanks a lot. I know you went to bed late yesterday looking into everything that was going on. Angry Train, Rocky Sanal, Nim Bader, hey Chuck, welcome, and Nimre also, Sigi Mantas, and everybody that is around, thanks a lot for joining. Let's begin then with the agenda for today. So starting with the first one, we're going to be dividing the agenda for today into two sides, maybe two different angles: the technical angle and the more like pre-staking campaign angle. Because there's a technical side to the pre-staking phase, of course, and we're going to begin with that. And after that, we're going to be talking about everything related to the pre-staking campaign, which, as you know, has 200 million NIM in rewards for grabs. So people participating can be receiving these rewards, and we're going to tell you all about that. And in the second part of this space, how to increase your chances to win, how to plan your pre-staking strategy, what are the multipliers, all that we'll be talking in the second part. But then let's begin with the technical process. Basti, Ines, I don't know who wants to take this one, but I'm going to throw it out there. Why is transitioning to proof of stake so important to Nimiq? What are the benefits?
Hey, I can take this one. So we are transitioning from proof of work to proof of stake, and the main benefits it's the enhancements of scalability, for sure, and the energy consumption. As you know, miners take a lot of energy running a miner in their machine. So with proof of stake, we are going to eliminate that, right? Also, proof of stake allows for increased transaction speed. I think Basti can also talk a little bit about that. And also, it becomes more simple to become a validator than a miner, because there's no the powerful machine that you need to run a miner. you no longer need that, and it's much more simple to run a validator.
Yeah, I mean, for the transaction speed, maybe to talk about this a little bit more, not going into too much detail, but basically when looking at our proof of work chain, we have like a time to like inclusion in a block even only of like roughly a minute or like up to a minute, which that is obviously for any like live scenario is very, very slow, specifically if you would require any confirmations on the transaction. So with proof of stake, we have this for up to a second only for inclusion in a block, and the confirmations then obviously also go a lot faster. So we're talking seconds instead of minutes, and that is obviously a fairly big deal for any real life scenario.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot. So then moving forward, the second question that I had planned is, in terms of, as the community knows, this has been on their works for quite some time, for some years, and it is a major shift for the network. What measures were taken to ensure security of the new proof of stake code and performance?
Sure. So I mean, the most important one, as usual, is this is open source. So everybody is free to peer review this. We have community devs that have peer reviewed parts of the code. We have run this with the community and trying to fix and isolate issues before. And we are also currently running a testnet to do exactly that. So these obviously are very important pieces to the puzzle. However, in addition to that, we also had HackerOne do a code audit, which they did like a little bit ago, and they also found some issues which we have fixed. And then in sort of accompanying the open sourciness of the project is a public bug bounty program, which we are also hosting on HackerOne with their support. And that obviously also goes a long way of incentivizing people to actually try and take a look and try and break things and find bugs, because there is now a bounty on each one of those. So if you are interested in these kinds of things, head over to the HackerOne community and find Nimiq there and give it a shot. It's definitely much appreciated. And then in addition to that, we also did some migration tests already, some internally, some also with the community. There might also be other ones coming to ensure that this process also smooth and works properly. So basically a whole bunch of measures to be taken, involving all kinds of people in this.
Thanks. Great. Yeah, this is something that, of course, that people, new people always look into before joining, so it's good for everybody to know. And as a reminder, then, what we're talking about here, for anybody that will be listening later, it's the launch of the pre-staking phase, right? And this is launching today, October 7th. And then, as Sebastian already shared, that has been all the process into peer reviewing and checking all the security topics about that. Check our Twitter account for participation and to learn how to participate. And now, in terms of the pre-staking phase, is it a requirement for all users to participate?
No, not at all. We had a first phase within the migration where any user could pre-register as one of the first validators for the proof of stake chain. And now we are in the second phase, which is the pre-staking phase, started just yesterday. And any user who wants to delegate NIM to any validator can do so through our Nimiq wallet. You need to have an account on the wallet and choose a validator you wish to pre-stake. We have a list of all the validators with the percentages. You can check how much NIM is already pre-staked. We also have a pre-staking campaign with giveaways but we will talk about that later. But overall and in short, no one is required to participate unless they want to.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dinesh. And I'm going to get away from the agenda just for a second, because you just mentioned something very interesting and exciting. Yesterday, the validator registration phase closed, and we had, or Nimiq has, I think right now, over 45 validator registered. That's maybe around 48, I think it's the number. So I think it's quite a good number. Basi, Inej, how are you feeling about this? Any opinions there from a technical side?
Sure. I mean, as far as I know, it's 47 validators, out of which I believe at least at this point, 5 or 6 or so are known to be going to run a pool where basically they accommodate for delegated stake to their validator by paying out to those constituent stakers. So that's quite nice. If we can, we would like to have this number of the pools specifically go up maybe a little. But for the initial round, this is already very nice. We are quite happy about that. And there's really I'm happy to see how the community showed up and like registered the validators. Quite nice.
Yeah, for sure. I'm also pretty excited about the amount of pools. I know some, or we had a space in the past with some of the pools, but I was very, happily surprised to see some new pools popping up. So, kudos to Cian Pool, also to Nimbre, of course to the ones that we had the space with, like A Staking, Mint Pool. I think it's great to see more and more pools, and to see that many validators is an amazing thing. Okay, so moving forward. Basti, can users pre-stake a validator anytime during the transition?
I mean, the transition is like a weird word, basically. But from now, I believe it's the 10th or 11th or so of November. This is open, so the pre-staking is open. And during this time, you can go to the wallet and use the tools that we provide there to facilitate this pre-staking. When you do it in the wallet, this basically ensures that you're doing it also correctly, because that is fairly important that these steps are done like diligently, basically, and the wallet facilitates this properly. I believe that in the wallet, the choice of validator is going to be for the pools only. And if you wanted to stake with a validator, a specific validator, I think you will need to go through a different process. But I'm not 100% sure on this because I have not worked on this. But yeah, during this time, all of the stake transactions will count, and we look forward to seeing how people doing this. I mean, as Tamu mentioned, apparently 1 billion NIM is already pre-staked and locked up in pre-staking, so that is also quite awesome to see for the first day. Really excited about it.
Totally. I mean, it's amazing. We are launching pre-staking with 1 billion locked already in pre-staking. So that's amazing. Thanks a lot for everybody in the community also for supporting that. And let's move to the next question. Can users switch the validator they have pre-staked their NIM to?
No. Sorry, you can go.
So not directly, but as far as I'm aware, basically the delegation of the last transaction counts, which basically means that if you pre-stake a set amount to any given validator, and then afterwards you do another transaction for a different validator, as long as both transactions are valid and included in the chain, I believe that the second delegation will count, because there's like a technical reason for this, and that is that any given address can only be staking for a single validator at most. So either no validator or one single validator that you can delegate your stake to. And since this is a requirement on the proof of stake chain, we cannot allow basically having a single address splitting their stake into two validators. And for the second, so we don't want the second transaction to become invalid or the first one to become invalid, and thus the stake will shift entirely to the second validator. That is how I understand it anyways. But then again, this is not something that I have worked on, so it's probably a great idea to also look into our public channels where these things are outlined in detail.
Hello, Basti. So the next question is, will user balance remain intact during the transition?
Yes, they will. So basically, if you have some NIM in your wallet while the proof of work is running, that will migrate to proof of stake. So your balance will remain completely the same.
Thank you. And next question, can users withdraw their NIM deposit before the migration? Their NIM pre-stake?
Yeah, so this is not possible, neither for pre-staking NIM nor for registered validator NIM. Basically, both of these things are one-way street, and the funds will only become available after the proof of stake migration has happened. And that is it's basically an irreversible process. The only thing, as I mentioned before, that you can do, if you change your mind about what validator to stake with, you can do that, but you cannot withdraw it and basically make it available again for the proof of work chain. This is not possible.
Okay, thank you. And is there a way in terms of how this process is going to be? How can the Nimiq community contribute to decentralization of the network during the pre-staking phase?
So we want a healthy stake distribution, right? As we said, the Nimiq wallet will display a percentage of the allocated stake for each validator, and this will allow the community to choose the validators with a smaller share of the total stake, right? So by distributing the stake to validators in a more decentralized way, basically users can prevent a validator to become centralized with a higher stake, and this enhances the network overall decentralization.
Thanks. Something you would like to add there, Basti?
No, it pretty much covers it. Basically, obviously, there might be also other reasons that you want to stake with a specific validator, namely, for example, it is your own validator, just as one example. But generally speaking, it makes sense to look a little bit at the overall distribution and not go with the biggest one, because that is basically how centralization happens, but choose one that is maybe a little bit of a smaller one. I believe Tammo is also going to go a little bit into detail in this later, because it's part of the promotional material as well. But that is generally, for the health of the network, that is the more beneficial route to take.
Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, guys, and I have one question left from the technical side. Technically, what happens to NIM that is pre-staked or staked during the pre-staking period after the migration is complete? How does that work?
Yeah. So as in the proof of stake chain, we have a new contract, which the smart contract is the staking contract, which keeps track of all of the balances that any staker has staked for any validator. And that structure does not exist on the proof of work chain for fairly obvious reasons. And so the migration, basically what it's going to do is going to take the transactions for both the validators and now the pre-staking to create out of those the staking contract's initial state. So the funds that have been pre-staked now, or that are going to be pre-staked now, after the migration, they will reside in the staking contract under your name. So basically, for the validator that you chose, but with the address that you sent these funds with. So they are, again, in your custody only. They will not be in the custody of the validator or of somebody else. They will be in your name only, and only your key is able to move them again, just like they are when they are in your wallet alone. So that is basically what's happening there. Like, they will form the initial state of the Genesis contract, of the Genesis staking contract.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I was looking into, before moving on, looking into the current status of the pre-staking phase. As we discussed at the beginning, we are launching today with 1 billion NIM already locked, which is amazing. And in the pre-staking page, you can find it in prestaking.nimiq.com. You will find a type of like a bar, right? A bar graph that shows you base goal and also a stretch goal of 2 billion NIM, right? And then 6 billion NIM. We didn't talk about this before, but I know, Basti, if you want to quickly mention a little bit on this 2 billion, 6 billion NIM, where this comes from, or what's the idea behind it?
I mean, I guess it's a little bit difficult to like say specifically about the numbers, but just looking at basically the overall circulating supply that still exists, and taking a little bit of a conservative angle at that, that leads us with like some realistic numbers that are not completely crazy, like having 95% or what of the circulating supply in pre-staking. That's certainly not feasible, but something where we can basically motivate the community to try and get to these numbers. And we feel like these were quite appropriate in that kind of context, if that makes sense.
Thanks. I know that I saw that Overnice unmuted, so Tamo, maybe you want to fill in here.
Yeah, just maybe adding a little bit on top of that. So the base goal that we want to achieve, which I think we're already like quite close to. Who knows? Maybe we can even crush it in the first 24 hours. That's really what we consider kind of like the minimum for a secure start. So easy peasy on that one. And then we have the stretch goal, which basically is something that we would try to achieve together as a community. It's roughly inspired by being half of the circulating supply right now, right? So assuming every second NIM enters the pre-staking, I think that is ambitious, but that's what a stretch goal is there for, right? Yeah, so those are what those numbers are. And yeah, as you said, Richie, I personally very enjoy like refreshing that page and seeing how the NIM fly in there.
Yeah, totally. Okay, thanks a lot. Then Tamo, now that you got the mic, let's move into the pre-staking campaign. Of course, this stretch goal and the base goal, as the more NIM that is pre-staked, the better, right? That makes for a healthier network, and that's why we are having all these campaigns and all these promotions around to incentivize users to participate. So let's begin with talking about this campaign. Tamo, how can users join the pre-staking campaign? Let's talk about like the total campaign, like the amount of prizes that we have, and all that. Maybe a quick context around the campaign. So.
Yeah, sure. So as you said, in general, basically the network faces the challenge that we need NIM locked up before the network goes live for it to really be safe, right? And so of course that should be a motivation for everybody who is invested and likes NIM. But also we figured out that basically there is no real upside to blocking your NIM, pre-staking them, right? Staking rewards will only be paid out by the network once the actual staking is live. So we wanted to do something nice to not only celebrate the launch, but also to incentivize everybody to stake as much as possible, and also stake it maybe in the right way, right? So that was generally the idea. In total, 200 million NIM will be paid out in the course of this pre-staking campaign. That's only what we're doing on our own campaign. There are some other promotions, for example, on exchanges that could be added up here, but so far 200 million NIM to us seem to be a good and nice bunch of NIM to give out to the community and basically reward everybody who's willing to lock up their NIM for the network's sake, right? And not only did we want to have a good solid NIM motivation here, reward for everybody, but for us it was also important to make it a little bit fun. Hence our campaign, where depending on how much you stake, you get like a special Identicon upgrade, you get a nice little card, right? We wanted to basically gamify it a little bit and make it fun.
Nice. Okay, so how can users join the pre-staking campaign? What steps do they follow?
Yeah, so only by pre-staking alone, you're not yet joining. That is simply because we don't want somebody who is pre-staking but who does not care about the campaign not win a lot of them by accident, right? Also, by having our dedicated pre-staking campaign page, also we leave the integrity of the Nimiq wallet, which to us is important, right? So there are some models that tell you what you can do, but the actual interface we wanted to keep kind of like clean and not go too crazy in there, since it's the host of your NIM, it's where your self-custody lives, so it's a bit of a sacred place for us. What you have to do to participate is, first and foremost, you have to pre-stake, and once you have pre-staked, you can go to our pre-staking campaign page. That's prestaking.nimiq.network, and there you will find the pre-staking page. It has a kind of like a dashboard that shows you how well you're doing in the campaign. And the first step there on the left, it asks you to log in with your Nimiq account. If you do this from the browser, which you also are logged in into your wallet, that's going to be very easy for you. And then you basically log in. The page checks the blockchain for your pre-staked NIM. And if you have NIM pre-staked, you can then go on and claim those points. Something important maybe to add here is you can start, just try it out with a little bit of NIM, and then later on you can continue and increase pre-staking. The page will automatically recognize the increase of NIM, and it will show you the points that you have updated, right? Important there also to say is you can participate on a per address basis. Per address, you choose one pool to pre-stake with, and you cannot change this later on. I think Basti mentioned this already, but so you will basically add more NIM to your pre-stake as you go. Of course, everybody is completely free and invited to split up their NIM in different accounts, addresses, sorry. Maybe they already have different addresses, so you can also participate with different addresses. That really doesn't matter. Also, it does not really make a difference to your probability of winning. You could even say that if you want to split up, maybe you put half in one pool and the other half in another pool. That's even a greater way to help decentralization here.
Amazing, thanks a lot for that explanation. Next question is, can you explain how the campaign works? Like, what are the two components of the campaign, how the rewards work?
Yeah, sure. So 200 million NIM will be paid out to everybody participating, and they're basically split in half. So if you pre-stake NIM, you will 100% receive a pre-staking reward, depending on how much you've staked, right? So the 100 million NIM will be paid out to everybody in relation to their total pre-stake. Of course, if, for example, when you're from Iran, you're not eligible to participate in the campaign, that is bad in that case. But other than that, by pre-staking and by claiming your points, you are guaranteed to get some nice NIM. On top of that, you have a chance to win quite substantial amounts of them, right? So the 100 million sounds a lot, but probably divided through everybody who participates, it's not going to be a huge return. But if you do well in the pre-staking campaign, if you collect a lot of points, you get a significant chance to win one of the big prizes. We have 100 in total, and those 100 prizes, they accumulate to the other 100 million. So for example, 10 people will be lucky and get 3 million paid out to the address that they are pre-staked with. So summarized, there are two portions here. One goes out, you win some no matter what, and the other one is more of a raffle, more of a luck situation, so to say.
Okay, very clear. Thanks a lot. And then talking about the giveaway component of the campaign, you mentioned the points and the chances to participate. Let's go into the juicy details of how can users maximize their chances to win in a giveaway, right?
Yeah, of course.
How do guys work? How is that?
So what we have come up with is a system that basically works with a ticket, has a ticket idea applied to it, right? So depending on how you pre-stake, you earn tickets, and the tickets are tickets to a lottery, so to say. So somebody who has 10 tickets, has kind of like 10 times the chance to win something. Somebody who has 1,000 tickets will have a tenfold better chance of winning, right? So to win the big NIM prizes, what you want to do is you want to pre-stake as much as possible, and this will give you kind of your base points, as we call those tickets. And then you can, on top, get some multipliers depending on how you stake. So, for example, and this is, by the way, not something where we just try to make it artificially blow it up or something, but the multipliers here, they really serve a purpose. So, for example, one of the biggest, juiciest multipliers is the underdog staking, right? That will give you 5 times what you get from pre-staking. So a very, very big incentive to do so. And the idea is quite simple. We want to have an as evenly as possible distributed pool and validator landscape. So if you go and you choose somebody who has a comparably little stake, you will get big rewards and points in that. That is something that we're actually able to tell if you did it today, right? And the interface is giving you, is telling you, hey, this pool is the underdog, you will get this bonus on it. And then maybe 2 days later, the ratios shift, right? This pool maybe is no longer an underdog, but we'll know that at the point of time where you have staked, it was an underdog, so the multiplier will apply. There is a slim chance, that you have like very, very unlucky, and from like selecting the pool in the interface to actually signing the transaction, the change happens in between this time. There's a slim chance that this happens, but yeah, I think most likely, I think it's not going to be the case. But yeah, so we reward people who stake with a pool who has a comparably low stake to progress the decentralization. This will then later, when we go to the proper staking, there are a lot of other things to consider, right? How the fee structure of the pool is, how reliable they've been in the past, and so. But this is not, of course, not the case for pre-staking, since there's simply no data on that, right? So right now, you can really say staking with an underdog makes sense. There's no drawback whatsoever. There is no risk whatsoever. So an underdog is not more risky than any validator who would have a high amount of stake. So that's kind of the important thing. Then also you get multipliers for staking early. This is simply, to incentivize people to not linger around too much or wait too much for the last minute, which could yet again, if, for example, in the last couple of days of the pre-staking phase, people only then start pre-staking. This could mean that just some validators collect like a big amount of stake, start the network with a kind of decentralized validator landscape. So we urge people, we propose to people to pre-stake early, and they are going to get a multiplier on that too. And then very lastly, there's the Galaxy promotion. That is something that I think, Richie, you should share something on later, as I think you're the mastermind here.
Sure. Yeah, I can talk a little bit about the Galaxy promotion. So again, as a summary, multipliers. Stake early, stake now. The first week has a multiplier. Second week, the multiplier drops a bit. First week is 3x. Second week goes to 2x. And the sooner or the earlier you start pre-staking, the higher your multiplier, and then the higher your chances to win in the giveaway. Go for an underdog validator, like Tam explained. There is no drawback to select an underdog. Some people ask about this, the community. I don't know, Basti, if you want to weigh in, like from the technical aspect of if there's something that you want to share. People asking, like, if a validator has a little bit of amount, like less amount than the rest, does that mean that it's more risky, or it's just the same? It's actually encouraged to pre-stake for a validator or for a pool that has a smaller amount than the rest.
Yeah, it's definitely encouraged. So risk involved with staking, there is it's not quite like that. The only thing that does change for validators that are very small is going to be that sort of the amount of slot that they get and thus the rewards that they generate over a short amount of time, they vary a lot more. So it's less, let's say, constant in terms of what this validator is going to make, and by extension also what you as the staker are going to get. But in a long run, so looking at this in a longer stretch of time, this should still even out, as it's probabilistic, and these probabilities do eventually settle at what their actual probabilities are. So that is really the only difference from a technical kind of perspective when it comes to the selection of validators between smaller and bigger ones, if that makes sense. If that is the question, I'm not entirely sure.
Yes, that is. Thanks a lot, Basi. Then we said the underdog validator, the underdog multiplier, and then there's a Galaxy multiplier. Like Tamo said, also I've been working with Galaxy for a while, and to share you guys a little bit about that, it's as you probably have seen it before, it's a Web3 platform that allows users to complete quests and to get some rewards in exchange for that. Rewards could be NFTs or tokens. And right now we're discussing with Galaxy for NIM support. That would be great, right, to get NIM supported. But in the meantime, what we are doing is giving rewards in the form of USDC on Polygon native, because that is also supported by our wallet. If you're new to Nimiq and you're just hearing this, go and open an account on wallet.nimiq.com. You're going to need that anyways to pre-stake, and you can see there how we support Bitcoin, USDC on Polygon, and NIM. All allowing also atomic swaps between one and the other, so you can swap your coins without having to give out surrender control of your coins. Always have custody, right, and decentralization. That's how Nimiq works. So you can do that there. If you don't have NIM, you can also get some NIM by doing that, depositing some USDC on Polygon or some Bitcoin and doing a swap for NIM on wallet.nimiq.com. So go and check that out. Now going back to Galaxy. Galaxy is this platform where people can complete these quests, right? We're going to be using it to promote in twofold. To promote all the announcements related to pre-staking and the migration of Nimiq to proof of stake, and also to get new users into our community, because a lot of Web3 users are in Galaxy, and one of the fundamental changes of Nimiq is also that with proof of stake we're going into staking territory, and there's a lot of users that are already familiar with the staking process. They are from staking communities, like, namely Ethereum, Cardano, Near, and the likes. So it makes sense also to start tapping into those communities and telling the people that are familiar with all the staking jargon and the staking process, telling them that Nimiq is here with now a new proof of stake algorithm. And Galaxy is one of the places where people get together and gather around right now in the Web3 crypto world. And that's why we're going in there, getting new users. We have been growing a lot in terms of followers. We are also talking now with Galaxy directly for some collaboration. And we are going to be launching quests every maybe 3 days, like 2 or 3 per week, related to our announcements. To complete the quest, you have to like and retweet our tweets and maybe answer some questions related to the migration and to the Nimiq project, and then you'll be receiving Galaxy points. These points, when received in the Nimiq space, they increase your rank in the leaderboard. So you can go to your account and see your leaderboard in the Nimiq space. So this is related to Nimiq quests. If you complete Nimiq quests, you will increase your rank, and then depending on your level of the leaderboard, you're going to get a higher multiplier or a lower one. If you don't participate at all, then you get the same, like basically no multiplier. If you're in the top, then you get like a 5x multiplier, I think, and that is like also a game changer for people that are participating. So make sure you also go to Galaxy, create an account. You can use MetaMask for that and start completing the quests, getting points and increasing your level. Somebody asked in the community because we already have been launching some quests and somebody's joining just now and they're saying like, I'm far behind, I'm not going to make it to get a good multiplier. But I answered that actually we're going to have so many quests coming up that people can catch up. So don't worry, join now and start helping us. There's a new Galaxy quest coming out today actually, so you're going to be able to join in the action if you have not yet. I think we explained all the multipliers, and now the last question that I have left is about the rewards. When will they be delivered, the rewards? Tamo, you want to get that one?
Yeah, sure. I want to throw in one more thing though. It's of course a very compared to the nice handsome amount of NIM that everybody can win. There actually is one more thing. But I don't know if everybody cares for it. I personally do. You actually get a nice little upgrade of your Identicon if you stake a lot. So we have 4 different tiers, basically a bronze, silver, and gold upgrade, and then also a prismic upgrade for people who manage to pre-stake more than 10 million M. And that's a nice little freebie. We are actually thinking about maybe NFTing this just for the lols, but this is actually also something that will stay in your wallet for all eternity if you choose. So let's say you get the golden card, then in your wallet address will have a nice little golden frame and a different background. This is something, of course, that's completely optional. You can deactivate it in the settings if you don't want it. Also, nobody else is seeing that, right? So we're not you're not doxing yourself by sending a transaction to anybody. But yeah, it's another upside. I have personally not pre-staked yet. I want to kind of see, just the community can get the base gold in one day. But I think it's also going to be fun sharing around the cards, Identicon cards that you get, sharing to the community how many points you've managed to get. Who knows? Maybe now with all like initial launch craziness and work for us is done. Maybe we can do like a leaderboard or something like that. I would like to personally see that. Yeah, that's that. But back to your question, Richie. When will the rewards be paid out? So in our terms and service, it says that it will take us up to 3 months to do that. I hope everybody understands that with the launch happening, the migration happening, our focus will be that the network is good, the product is good, right? That everything works fine. There probably also will be probably a week or so that people get their well-deserved sleep that they're not getting right now, I can assure you. So we ask for some patience after the pre-staking is done for the rewards to be paid out.
Yes, thanks a lot, Tamo. Yeah, great answer. And yes, I was missing the identicons. If you have not seen it, go to prestaking.nimiq.com/prestaking, and you'll see, or just prestaking.nimiq.com, and you'll get there. Open the dashboard. You'll see that like the shiny identicon card. I really like it. I would like to NFT it at some point as well, but that's maybe just me personally. Maybe we'll look into that at some point. But having an upgrade in the wallet also for me means a lot. As we communicate in general, this is bragging rights for all the users that are passionate about Nimiq and that can, show to the rest that they were there, they supported NIM and into the migration, and they supported up to the champion level, or the whatever level that you achieve, the guardian level. Hopefully we have a lot of champions around here, and let's see how that goes. The leaderboard sounds exciting. Let's see if we can work into that in the coming weeks. And I think then for now that's everything that I have. Now maybe I open the floor for questions. If there's somebody there that has some question to the team members, to Overnice, or in general about the campaign, about pre-staking, you can raise your hand and I'll give you access, or you can also ask the questions in the comment section below. In the meantime, remember to go and like and retweet our latest announcement, which is the pre-staking is live announcement. As we also communicated in the announcement at the bottom, now it's time to rally together, everybody from the Nimiq community, to unite. And our time is here, right? And now that we have everything ready for the migration, we need to start promoting this. Not only to other other NIM holders that you might know, but also to everybody out there in the crypto space. So let's go tell our friends, our crypto friends, telling maybe some groups that we have, maybe some people that are into crypto, that are looking into, getting involved in new projects. Right now is the best time to get involved in Nimiq. You not only get involved in a very exciting process, but also you get a chance to win huge giveaways, So let's tell everybody, let's help by retweeting, by liking, by sharing this with all the social media posts that we have out there. And that's great and helps us a lot. Any questions from anybody in the audience? Or was everything then so clear that I think we're good? Or any comments? Misha, maybe? Misha was around, I think. Stefan? Thor, crypto community, Nimiq community. Okay, everybody very quiet. Seems like everything was super clear. Then I think we can leave it for now here. Guys, thanks a lot. Overnice, Ines, Basti, thanks a lot for joining. Really enjoyed the space. And then talk to you in the next one. Remember to like and retweet our latest announcements, and let's tell everybody that pre-staking is open.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Ciao.
Yep, thanks everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.